What's up, my name bugs? It's your boy Coder, back on the Elestrals channel. I know I haven't been here in a while, but we are so back because this weekend we had another webcam premiere tournament. Now, I did very poorly. However, a very good friend of the channel, DAIMAX, actually performed very well and has proven the point that in reality, Celestleo Solar is actually the best deck. So, DAIMAX, show us the sauce. Do you have anything you want to say about the deck before you get into the deck profile?
Well, yes, of course. You know, I really like to thank the Knots for being completely correct with regards to Celestleo being the best deck. You were a little wrong on the timing, but
hey,
best deck.
Hey, as long as we are right at some point, it doesn't matter how late we are, okay, or how early.
You're not. It's just that you know, y'all are prophets, really. That's what's happening, right? Yeah.
So you piloted Celestleo Solar to a finals finish, unfortunately losing out in the finals to our good friend Julian. But how did you think the deck performed? Did you think Solar was the call? Was it the meta pick, or was it just something you were like, it's goofy and I'll run with it?
Yeah, the deck felt crazy. The deck felt great. And, oh, wait. Hold on a minute. Kevin, I just realized something.
Huh?
We need the deck for the deck profile.
We need the deck. Can you take out the deck, please?
Yeah, I can. Let me get my deck. Let's get the deck box and
Oh my goodness.
yeah, I gotta. And we'll set that aside for later when I have to get my sideboard.
Tell us about the deck. Tell us about the choices and all that good stuff.
Yeah, of course. So we'll start off with the most correct choice any Elestrals player can ever make. 3 copies of Astrabbit.
Classic, yeah.
Well, here's the meat of the deck. I played 3 copies of Exaltoes.
And
1 Celestleo, 1 copy of the Sunny D Lion.
So why the choice of Celestleo over any other solar boss monster you could possibly be playing?
Well, you see, Exaltus has a very specific line of text. It says, you can nexus up to 2 solar. When you do, you can search your deck for a that is an ethereal Elestral, that little symbol. And let me bring it up to the cam.
That searches Astrabbit. What?
Yes, it. Oh my God!
You can search the card that wins the game.
I'm bugging. Or you could search Celestleo instead.
Okay, so, fair, reasonable.
Yeah. So basically, to make a long story short, there are a lot of ethereals in the game of Elestrals, of varying quality. Celestleo happens to be the best 3-drop that takes Solar Spirits. So, you know, it was between this and Chronodile. And if you go Exaltus, search Chronodile, it's not properly enchanted. And I like it when my cards have effect text. Like, for example, Astrabbit's effect text says you win the game.
Fantastic.
Now we're going to stop looking at cards that Exaltus can search because we're looking at 3 Lumaroo next.
All right.
This thing has number 5.
Good number.
And its effect text says your opponent loses the best 3 cards in their deck.
Okay.
I hit an Ardrum with that. It's basically crack cocaine.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, 5 is a good number. Have a good beater.
To get actually analytical here, a lot of deck building post Moonrise has kind of introduced a lot of bricks into decks. You know, your Full Moons, your Leica Voids, your Doppelgators, your Ardvrooms, your Antitans. You know, and Lumaroo being able to just sometimes read your opponent's engine stops working is really strong.
Fair. That's fair.
Next up, we got my problematic fave, 3 copies of Mel.
This card is so good. This card is so good. It's probably the best healer in the game right now. Like, there's no way to... I think there's no good counterplay of this card with the exception of, what, exactly Specteris?
Hey. Put some respect on the goat cockatoodle's name.
Ooh, the cockadoodle. You're right. Very real.
Simple. It's that simple. Yeah, so that's it for my solar core.
Okay.
It's really just these 9 Elestrals and Celestleo, because all the rest of them, unplayable, terrible, horrible cards.
Shout out to Beam, bro.
So we're playing. Shout outs, bro. Shout outs. Blizztrix ain't real. 3 copies of Edward.
Ooh, good card.
Along with Zeus, which you'll see later on. No, Eddie's good. Eddie, good card.
The generic
not
staples.
Much to say about that.
I assume you're playing a lot of the generic staples in this deck.
I mean, listen, the deck's got to be filled with something.
that is how that goes. Yeah,
1 Elechicken, 2 Zeus.
2 Zeus. All right.
Here's a card you don't see very often. I'm on 1 copy of Galaxair.
Okay.
So Galaxair, if you take a look closely, It happens to have the Exaltus typing. It's an
Oh.
ethereal.
It's an ethereal.
So
so is Galaxy, by the way. Just putting that out
that is
there.
correct. The other options for this slot were Galaxy and Sorlet.
Mhm.
Sorlet because it's a natural
Also an
5
ethereal,
that
right?
you can search with the. Yeah, it's also an ethereal.
Yeah.
But I didn't really want it for a reason I'll get into later after I explain Galaxy.
Okay.
I'm not on Galaxy because Gorgon's Gaze hurt lots.
Mhm.
Spectrist hurt lots. And this card has the added benefit of cracking some 2 and 3 drops, which is really nice.
That's fair.
Like, you know, your opponent goes like, aha, Curubus, and you say, all right, Galaxy effect.
It even beats Tornado.
Cool,
So
2/9.
I guess, yeah.
It does, yeah. So, but also, more importantly, the decision between Galaxy and Sorlet came down to one very specific game state, which is Astrabbit in defense mode. As we covered before, Astrabbit reads you win the game. I don't want my opponent to win the game. So I want as many cards as possible that crack Rabbit. So I got 3 Eddie, I got 1 Galaxy, I got 1 Elechick, and then 2 Zeus. So that gives me 7 ways to kill a Rabbit.
Lets everything walk over it. Because yeah, that card, if it sticks for too long, you kind of lose the game.
It's just over, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're goated. Shoutouts to Josh. Both the games I won were very, very sticky Rabbit offs.
Love that. That's fantastic. All right, next up.
So
what you got?
that's it for our dudes.
All the guys?
We're on like 17 plus an Ascension. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
Good numbers. Good numbers. We're on 2 copies of Cryoblast. I didn't need the third.
2
Felt
Cryo
great
Maiden?
with just 2. Yeah.
Mhm.
Not siding the third. I just didn't really want it.
I
didn't
feel
know
like
what
3 doesn't even
matchup I
come up
wanted
that
for it.
often in most
It
game
really
states.
doesn't.
Yeah.
The only times I've ever felt 3 comes up is like when you brick on the second,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
It feels kind of like Hurricane in that regard.
Realistically speaking, you are playing 3 because I assume you're playing Earthquake.
I am.
There it
and
is,
I'm
yeah.
on Laurels too.
Yeah, there you go. 4 removal spells.
You
That's
know,
plenty. You don't
Big
need
fan.
5 of them.
Big fan of kill spells. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you really don't. Then we're on 3 Ambro because Ambrosio's good.
Yeah.
You know, gotta
Good card.
play what we can. And that's it for the invokes. Simple stuff.
Okay,
And now we get
I'm gonna
into-
take a wild guess here. 3
Okay,
shield,
Okay.
3 gaze,
Okay.
2 Argo, 2 tsunami. That's my guess.
Ooh, so close, but
So
just barely off. We're on 3 copies of Gorgon's
Okay.
Gaze, 3 copies of Shield of
Mhm.
Achilles, 2 copies of Tsunami,
Oh, is it 3 Argo?
3
It's
Argo. Yeah.
Fair. I was
Yeah,
close. Hey, I was
You were
close.
close. You're damn close. You're damn close. And then the 2 bricks that were glued to my hand.
So, Necklace of Harmonia and Poison Tunic. Walk me through why
Yep.
you're on Tunic over, I guess, the standard Scythe of Demeter. Is it just like spirit math wise?
It actually all comes down to Exaltus. So
Okay.
Exaltus is a 3/2, which is a very relevant stat line. So let's say your opponent drops like any old 5, like a Lu, right?
Yeah.
They go for Lumaroo, they try to attack your Exaltus, you flip Argo, Necklace, you put 2 Solar Spirits on it, you win the game.
Yeah,
Right.
because you can
You
exalt
just
this
go
Nexus.
search.
Yeah.
Search the Celestleo, win the game.
Yeah.
But let's say your opponent doesn't play Lumaroo. They have your opponent plays a card that's not just a natty 5. Your opponent has like, I don't know, 2 brain cells. They know what your set is.
Mhm.
They play Eddie. All right.
Ooh, okay.
They play Eddie. They swap Exaltus to defense.
Oh.
Scythe would let you win combat here. However, Exaltus doesn't have a Nexus Bank all of a
Yeah.
sudden. You're kind of reliant on this thing getting a Nexus Bank.
Mhm.
So what do? Tunic. Now this thing's a 2. This thing's a 2. They bounce off each other, and now you get Celestleo. Make
And
sense?
I guess it also doesn't lose to like a potential Argo play because there's no combination of not Argo, a potential Altar of Stars play because they can't turn you to attack or whatever to like beat over or anything. That's cool. That's really sick.
Yeah, Scythe makes this thing a 5/5, which is also just like really small. But
Yeah.
also, this card comes up a lot in extremely late game situations.
Mhm.
Like the other day at locals, I was in a situation where I was on like 4. My opponent went down to 0 with a Leica Void on their field.
Oh.
I had Eddie on my field, or I was on like 5 or something.
You
some
Tunic and you
number.
crash? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
Tunic, crash, burn them for game. Yeah, it comes up a ton. This card's really
Insane.
ridiculous, and it also just applies a lot of pressure. Kind of like, you know how when you're playing against Rhinosect, you'll like
Yeah.
fire off tsunamis just to kill off your enchanted guys.
Mhm, yeah.
This card can pretty much just become rock in a hard place, but your opponent pops both cards. Sometimes it doesn't happen often, but you go like, all right, I'll Tunic your guy while you're low, and they're like, tsunami, go!
I see
So,
what
just
you
to
mean.
avoid the
Yeah.
burn.
They're
Yeah.
afraid. They're scared of it. I see what you mean.
Yeah, this card applies a ton of pressure. It gives you the right math, and it can take 2 Solar Spirits. The other option for this was actually Golden Fleece. I was talking with Trish about this the couple nights before the event. Fleece would similarly do the same thing with Exaltus, because it would make Exaltus a 4, but also it would protect you from kill spells. But the Tunic Burn and the Tunic Attack drop comes up a lot more than the defense boost on Exaltus and the protection does. You'd really rather have a more flexible artifact that can also just like be enchanted with whatever in a pinch than you would Fleece, especially because, as you'll see later, I'm really light on Solar. Actually, you don't actually have to play many Solar Spirits to play Solar in the game of Elestrals now.
That's fair. So is that the whole main deck?
Yeah, that's the whole main deck.
Any changes you would make or no?
No, deck's perfect.
Fantastic. That's what we
just
like to hear.
don't watch finals. Just don't watch finals.
Don't watch finals.
So
spirits.
Yeah, so we're starting off with 5 Thunder, the perfect ratio for 3 Rabbit, 1 Zeus, 2 Zeus, 1 Electric.
Okay.
Never wanted more. 4 Water. Never really wanted more. Felt great.
Yeah, that's
2 Earth for Earthquake. And then we got our 1 of Flex Spirits, 1 Wind for Galaxy, 1 Frost for Cryoblast.
So is that...
And 1 Lunar for Sideboard cards.
6 solar?
Yes, it is. 6 solar card, 6 solar spirits just sitting here. You don't actually need more than 6.
Wow.
Because the secret truth is half of your solar cards are water cards anyway.
Yeah.
And the other half are Cathmal, which heal you back your solar cards.
And
this actually doubles as a solar spirit for the purposes of Cathmal.
Cathmal heals Lunar.
Yeah, so like you always mulligan Lunar Solar, so that way your turn 1 Cathmal could heal 3. Always. Yeah, this felt great.
So are you really playing? Are you playing 1 Lycoris with 1 Galaxy and that's it?
Yes, I am. I am siding a couple cards that use the Wind Spirit, but for the most part, it's just this. Initially, I had this as another Water Spirit and Sorlet, but again, I wanted to crack rabbits, and the best ethereal that does that is Galaxy. So
that's fair. All right, show us the side. Show us the sauce. Where's the secret text?
Well, you know, the sides. Hold on, I gotta get my side.
Ooh, yes, please grab the side out of the deck box. Ooh.
All right, here we go. Yeah.
How aggressively do you have to swing that thing open?
Not very. I just like doing it with a little power, because like, you know, if you're not doing it strong, you're not doing it right.
Yeah, no, I respect it.
So we're on 2 Spoiled Fruit. This is for the Solar Mirror more so than anything else. If my opponent's on like Draco Ray, or if my opponent's like, I don't know. I don't know what this is for.
It beats Voldusk.
I got Poverty Check.
Hey,
it beats Voldusk. It beats Voldusk. It beats Ash Rabbit. But really, the reason why this is here is because I got Poverty Checked a couple times at the first few Moonrise premieres, and never again.
What do you mean by Poverty Checked?
I did not own it, and I got paired against only Healstall.
Fun. Love to see it.
Yeah. I'm on 2 Divine Blessing for Blizz. It's just fine. You know, they're hollow because I bought a Laminator, and I don't own non-hollows. So sorry, gamers. 2 copies of Lunar Phase Wax and Magibus.
Wax and Magibus.
Aggro. I did not need it. Lunar has kind of fallen off the map, turns out.
It kind of did, yeah.
Yeah, like, who was actually on it? Like, Trevor?
I was on Lunar cards.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
We're on 2 Dense Fog for Morfrost, Fire Nexus, and Titan, which showed up a lot.
Okay, yeah. You did play against
again, this is the same deal with Spoiled Fruit. It's only really in here because I took it out one time and then immediately lost to Morfrost, and I said to myself, never again.
Okay, cool.
2 Hurricane. This is for Argo decks. I was really expecting like a wave of players playing Photosynthesis after Dallas. It did not come, but I was ready for it. I sat it in like once. It lost me the game. Terrible. I would cut it.
I personally don't think this card is that good. Like, I feel like that card is like either it wins you the game or it's like completely pointless.
I feel like it's good if you activate 2, but if you only activate 1, it's just not good enough because with Cathmal being so popular, it's like, what are you really making? What push are you making that's actually going to be meaningful?
That's true.
You know?
That's fair.
We're on 3 Heliolith. This is a last-minute addition because I was like, shit, wait, how do I beat Scythed Up Equilinx?
How'd you like it?
Hated it.
Really?
Sat it in like once I sat it in finals, and we don't talk about finals.
We don't talk about finals.
We don't talk about
so
finals,
would you not side this moving forward, or do you think it's fine to still play it?
I think you still play it just in case of Photosynthesis. You got to be ready for Bo.
That's
but
fine.
I already beat him in
exactly.
finals at Dallas, so it's like, you know, I don't know why I'm prepping for him so hard. You know, I did win Dallas after all.
You did win Dallas.
I did win Dallas. Yeah,
DAIMAX,
I won
the
Dallas.
actual winner of,
Yep.
of Dallas.
I think the air fryer got lost in the mail.
True, reasonable.
And then finally, and this one's gonna need some explaining. 2
Huh?
copies of magnetic force.
Huh? First magnetic force field top of all time.
So let's talk about
Explain.
magnetic force field.
What does this card even do? I don't even know what it
Force
does.
Yeah, so magnetic force field is a 1-cost thunder counter rune. Hilariously not searchable by the cards on the art.
Okay.
So it says this magnetic force field can only be played when an opponent activates a non-counter effect that causes you to expend spirits. Negate that effect, and then your opponent must expend 2.
Okay.
So basically, this is yet another situation with dense fog and spoiled fruit. At the Poison Nectar Monthly, just last week,
yes,
I was going great. I was doing fantastic. I was on Earth Nexus. I was like, oh yeah, this is great. This deck's killer. And then I got paired against Swolax.
Ooh.
And Swolax was on burn.
He was on burn, yeah.
And I thought to myself, that was miserable. I
refuse to lose to burn. I do not want to get burned.
refuse. Anyway, I got paired against Krakatuga, and these didn't come up because I stuck Celestleo, and I just won anyway.
But you sided the minute to Krakatuga?
I sided them in. I found them. But by that point, the Celestleo had already chunked them for like 4 or something.
Interesting.
Like...
You should have won the game with them. Would have been the funniest thing ever. Very, very cool deck. Do you feel like it's like, okay, be real with us. Is it a meme, or do you think that this is like an actual legitimately good deck, or do you think this is one of those, I took this goofy thing, I got lucky and did well this one time, it probably won't happen again?
I think it's actually solid. This deck is entirely built on the theory behind, if you remember like a month ago, I topped with Farrageist list that was eerily similar to this list.
Yeah.
Like all the same theory was applied. The only thing that changed was instead of the Lunar Core, I'm on Solar, and instead of Farrageist, I'm on Celestleo, which is like arguably worse.
Yeah, easier to out, but like more push, right?
Kinda, yeah. Basically, to make a long story short, I think the deck is very good. I think that the theory behind it is really strong. There is a niche, and there is a there's a large place in the metagame for a deck that takes advantage of a card like Exaltus, like Comalis, and the Solar Shell is just the best for it. I think that as long as the gameplay, the pace of the game kind of stays where it is, and Argo is profitable, and Argo is like worth playing, decks like this will be good. And yeah, I don't think that this was just me getting lucky. I think this was me playing a deck that I'm very familiar with. Yeah. And a deck with a good niche in the meta.
I think the big logic here, right, and this is something that also applies to stuff like the Tornadian list and all that stuff. A lot of these decks nowadays have like just a guy that if you stick to the board and it sticks for a turn, you're off to the races, you know? Like if someone sticks a Tornadian and then you're not able to add the Tornadian that turn, they just Tornadian again next turn, the game is over. Same thing with your deck. If you stick an Exaltus and the Exaltus survives a turn, on the next turn you Exaltus, the game is over. You got a Celestleo on board and stuff like that. So I think there's a lot to be said about these decks that, you know, all of these decks use the same skeleton, the same, you know, 20, 25-ish cards, and then the engine that you choose to play, instead of being an engine that's just like all these little guys that get individual value, you just play a guy that if it sticks for a turn, the game ends. And I think that this is genuinely one of those engines that's able to do that really, really well. And I think moving forward, we're going to see a lot of that. Like Josh's deck that he played this tournament, the Ant-Titan deck, kind of does the same thing. If it can stick the Ardbud on board and have it live a turn, there's an Ant-Titan hitting the board. You know, I think that logic kind of applies to all sorts of different decks. And it's cool and interesting to see. I'm curious if it's going to get solved as to which one of these, you know, guy that sticks wins the game engine is going to be proven as the best one. Do you think this is the best one?
Oh God, no! Are you kidding me? Have you read Celestleo? Like once every 3 turns, this card's effect reads your opponent Shield of Achilles you. Like, this card does not have an effect unless you find something in the top 4. That's awful. The secret truth is that as long as you stick a big enough guy, it doesn't matter what its effect text is. It's as long as it has 3 spirits under it and shield costs 4, it's probably winning the game anyway. The determining factor will not be the quality of the Ascension or the quality of the must-answer guy like Equilinx or like
Exaltus in this case,
Exaltus or Tornadian or Ant-Titan or I don't know, Chronodile.
Mm-hmm.
It could be literally anything. It could be a ham sandwich. As long as there's three spirits, that's all that matters. The determining factor is going to be just going to be what's the most efficient and consistent way to activate to get the guy on the field, right? Like, you know, and that's kind of why Echolinks should never be unlimited. That card is the answer. That card is the must answer. Echolinks at 3 will ruin this game. Anyways, unrelated. Echolinks to 3.
I like Echolinks to 3. Big fan of Echolinks to 3. All right, Daimax, thank you for showing us your deck. This is really cool, and congrats on 2nd place. Any last minute shout outs or anything like that, or do you want to tell the people to never play this ever or to play this forever?
Yeah, so shout outs to my mom. She's awesome.
Shout outs to Daimax's mom.
Yeah, shout outs to Daimax's mom. And shout outs to Celestleo for always being in my first opening hand. He was there for me when no one else was, and for that I hate him.
The goat. The absolute goat. No, he's a lion, actually. I think of it. He's a lion.
Yeah, come on now.
All right. Well, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. There's going to be more deck profiles coming out from this tournament because my boy Josh got top 4 with Ant Titan. We got a couple of other fun deck profiles on the way. So if you guys are interested in seeing those and knowing what good decks are coming out of this tournament, make sure you comment, like, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one, guys. Peace.